The weather today is actually beautiful, the perfect kind for sitting here and philosophizing about student life.
Just from that opening, I can tell you've had another week rich in experiences.
It's not just that I have problems, it's that I have an entire list of problems, long and organized in chronological order like a study guide.
Let me try to guess the culprit. Math?
Wrong.
Oral exam?
Wrong again.
Then, a crush?
Well, there's a bit of entanglement there, but they aren't the main suspect.
Oh, sounds complicated already. Spill it, I've got my popcorn ready.
This week, I felt like I was the lead in a movie, but a low-budget, indie human comedy.
Sounds twice as interesting as any of my classes this morning.
On Monday, I woke up early, an event so rare it deserves a place in my personal history book. I thought the week was off to a grand start. Little did I know, I walked into class and sat in the wrong seat.
Oh, that's no big deal.
It was the class monitor's seat.
Ugh.
And he looked at me with an expression that said, "You have just ascended my throne."
So how did you react? Apologized and stood up?
I smiled. A very confident smile, as if sitting there was completely intentional.
And
And I kept sitting there for another 5 minutes because, honestly, I didn't realize I was wrong.
I'm starting to see the comedy now.
The climax was the collective silence of the class. No one said a word, but everyone was watching like they were viewing a survival challenge. When will she realize?
And when did the moment of enlightenment arrive?
When the class monitor gently informed me, "You're sitting in my spot."
Gentle, but it hit with the force of a cannonball.
Exactly. I bolted up so fast I almost gave the chair a farewell kick.
A Monday morning opening act. Brilliant, memorable, impossible to replicate.
Wait. Tuesday was the real peak of the drama.
I'm getting a bit scared now.
I got called up to the blackboard.
That's normal.
Normal if I had actually studied the lesson the night before.
Ah, and you didn't study.
I stood before the board, holding the chalk, staring at the problem as if it were an encrypted message sent by aliens.
Did you pull off the deep in thought performance?
Of course! I looked at the ceiling, looked at the floor, even nodded a bit like I was processing some extremely complex data.
While in reality.
While my head was as empty as a morning without breakfast.
And the outcome?
I wrote down one line. Very confidently. Very wrongly.
At least you left a mark on the board.
The teacher asked, "Are you sure?" And I, God knows what possessed me, replied, "Yes, I'm sure."
You are truly reckless.
The next second, I wished I had a disappear from reality button.
Did the whole class burst out laughing?
It was worse they were silent. That everyone knows, but no one says anything kind of silence.
The high-tier psychological damage.
I stood there, holding the chalk, thinking to myself, why didn't I just pretend to have a stomachache from the start?
A tactic that definitely deserves to be in the backup plan.
I've already noted it down in my book of experiences.
What about Wednesday?
Wednesday, the day I declared I would turn over a new leaf.
Oh, that sounds ambitious.
I woke up early, prepared my lessons, even brought snacks to fuel my studies.
And then?
I fell asleep during the second period.
That was fast.
I don't get it either. I'd only been determined for less than 2 periods before my body revolted.
Maybe your system didn't recognize hard-working mode and treated it as a system error.
Exactly, it reacted like, "No, this isn't us. Do not accept this command."
The body is brutally honest.
When I woke up, the teacher was staring straight at me with a very suspiciously calm expression.
That moment of looking into the eyes of death.
I immediately grabbed my pen, leaned down, and started writing like a professional actor.
Writing what?
Characters that even I couldn't decipher afterwards.
Contemporary abstract art, born under harsh conditions.
If anyone looked at my notebook, they'd think I was composing free verse poetry.
Thursday?
Thursday. Thursday was the day I got to breathe. No exams, didn't get called up, no falling asleep.
Heaven on earth.
But because it was so peaceful, I started to panic.
Panicked because it was peaceful?
Because I knew this peace was a price that Friday would collect with interest.
An intuition grounded in science.
And just like my internal weather forecast predicted.
Don't tell me.
Pop quiz.
Of course, the universe is fair in its own twisted way.
I looked at the questions and asked myself, have I ever encountered this knowledge in my life before?
The eternal philosophical question.
I tried to dig through my memories, but the only thing that surfaced was the image of me napping on Wednesday.
Your brain prioritizes storing the most memorable moments.
In the end, I did the test based on pure intuition.
A method that is quite artistic.
If I get a high grade, I'll call it sharp intuition. If it's low, a valuable life lesson.
You have a talent for redefining reality. I truly admire that.
You have to live optimistically. Otherwise, what's left to live on?
Looking back at the whole week, how do you feel?
Like a roller coaster, constant ups and downs, heart racing. But eventually, I made it back to the station.
And importantly, you're still sitting here to tell the tale.
And I have a good enough story to tell, too.
That's the real achievement. What about me, do you want to ask?
Was your week any more normal?
I wouldn't dare use the word normal, but at least I haven't sat on anyone's throne yet.
Don't get smug too soon. Next week is still a long way off.
Hearing you say that, I'm starting to feel actually worried.
Welcome to the Students Trying to Survive Club.
I need to prepare my spirit and maybe an entire set of backup plans.
I can share some experience. Step 1, memorize the stomach ache excuse.
Noted down immediately.
Step 2, always check if you're sitting in the right spot.
A lesson paid for in blood and tears.
And step 3, the most important, always have a friend to tell the story to after it's all over.
Are you indirectly saying I'm useful?
Don't let it go to your head. Next week, I'll still need you to listen to part 2.
Sounds both exciting and nerve-wracking.
That is exactly what student life feels like.
To be honest, after hearing you talk, I realized sitting here chatting with you is the most peaceful moment of my week, and that is something worth pondering.
Don't get too used to it. Peace like this usually has a very short expiration date.
You always know how to make things both interesting and a little bit worrying.
Because I have a realistic outlook.
I call it well-invested pessimism.
That sounds much fancier. I accept the title.
But, besides that chain of drama, were there any breathable moments this week?
Of course. Recess. It's sacred.
Sounds so simple.
Simple, but worth more than gold. Those are the 15 minutes where I get to sit down, eat something, and convince myself that homework doesn't exist.
Convince myself the key phrase.
I eat with great focus and very quickly, as if I eat fast enough, the homework won't be able to find me.
Stealth tactics through rice bowls.
Not very effective. Homework has tracking capabilities like a next-gen GPS.
Especially active in the evenings.
Oh, the evening, the time when homework officially declares war.
And how do you counterattack?
I sit at my desk, open the laptop, and start negotiating with myself.
Negotiating, specifically?
Just one short video, then I'll study right away. Very rational, very well planned.
And the result of the negotiation?
I watch the video first, as usual.
A decision so familiar, it's almost a tradition.
Then I say, one more just to get some motivation. Very logical.
And after that?
And after that, I look up. The sky is darker, the clock has skipped an hour, and the homework is still lying there patient, calm, and not resentful at all.
Your homework has remarkable endurance.
Exactly. It isn't going anywhere, while I've traveled deep into the universe of digital content.
Now, I understand why you compare your life to a movie.
I'm the main character, the screenwriter, and the director of a film where I have no control over the plot.
But your script has a lot of charm, at least to the audience sitting right here.
Because you're not the one who has to live it.
That's absolutely true. What about you after school? What do you do? Me, I go home with the intention to study.
With the intention.
Exactly. The key word is right there.
Sounds so familiar, like I'm listening to myself.
But I have one different step.
What step is that?
I sit at the desk, open the book, and stare at it for a very long time, like meditation, but without any spiritual results.
Like waiting for the book to transfer its knowledge into you?
Precisely. I'm waiting for the moment of enlightenment to strike.
And does it ever come?
Not once, but I remain steadfast in my waiting. Patience is an important virtue.
Do you sometimes nod as if you're understanding?
Often.
We share a core skill, pretending to understand convincingly.
School survival skills, expert level.
If there were an exam called Lesson Understanding Expressions, I'd definitely get a perfect score.
You could be the top graduate in that major.
Finally, I've found my area of expertise.
But, taking things a bit further, do you ever think about the future?
Why did this question suddenly become so deep without warning?
Just asking, no traps.
I do. Sometimes I sit still and ask myself, what am I doing with the limited time I have on this earth?
And the answer is?
Watching videos and procrastinating. At least it's honest.
As for me, I have a different approach, more geared towards dreaming.
For example,
I often imagine my future self being very successful, very stable, very cool.
that sounds good.
But the image is a bit blurry. I'm not clear on what that success actually looks like.
The concept is very flexible and elastic.
Especially flexible whenever I hit a hard test, then success simply means passing.
A realistic and humble goal. I like it.
I think we're at that stage where we're dreaming, panicking, and unsure if the map we're holding is even correct.
But at least you're running. Many times, I'm just standing there looking at the road.
But you can still laugh, that's no small thing.
Because if I didn't laugh, I'd probably just fall asleep. That's also a valid way to process emotions.
I probably shouldn't be encouraging this.
You're just empathizing with me, not encouraging. There's a subtle difference.
You sound dangerous if I understand you too well. You'll run out of excuses.
I'll always find a new reason. That's my hidden talent.
A talent that is undervalued by modern education.
Thanks for recognizing my worth.
But honestly, I love these kinds of talks. No need to pretend too much.
Yeah, here, I don't need to nod and fake understanding the lesson.
Nor do I need to write lines that no one can read, including the writer.
And most importantly, no one asks, are you sure?
The most haunting question of the school year.
I think it will follow me like a memory scar forever.
Maybe it'll follow you into the workplace. The boss asks for a report, and suddenly you'll have a flashback.
Don't paint that picture. That's just cruel.
Haha, just kidding. But I really like these moments sitting here.
Talking about random things, no grades, no one judging.
Just the two of us and some silly stories, but in a way, they're very real.
Do you think we'll remember sessions like this later on, even though they seem so ordinary?
I think the most ordinary things often become the longest-lasting memories.
That sounded surprisingly profound from someone who just confessed to staring at a book waiting for enlightenment.
I'm surprised too. Maybe I'm just in a special state of mind today.
Don't let it pass too quickly. Take advantage of it and say a few more deep things.
Haha, but at least right now, I feel okay.
Me too. You don't need to understand everything.
You just need to know that we're both trying in our own very specific, slightly clumsy ways.
And slightly funny ways.
But also, quite lovely.
Are you complimenting yourself?
I'm complimenting both of us.
Talking to you, I realized this past week wasn't as bad as I first thought.
Me too. Maybe things don't need to be perfect.
You just need someone to tell the story to and someone who doesn't laugh too loud.
I'm trying my best to hold it in.
I know.
But seriously, you're a great storyteller.
That's how I convert trauma into content.
A vital skill for the 21st century.
And I will continue to hone it.
I look forward to hearing the next episode of the movie.
Rest assured, Part 3 is in production and will definitely be released soon.
That sounds like a warning wrapped in a promise.
Do you ever feel like there are things you don't say, but you still secretly want others to just understand on their own?
I do. And usually, no one understands.
Exactly. That's the most annoying part.
Are you thinking about something specific?
Not necessarily anything specific, just a feeling that's sort of hovering around.
Vague, but I get that.
Like, there are times when I'm laughing naturally, but in my head, I'm thinking about something completely different.
Two screens running in parallel.
One for everyone to see, and one that I just leave in the corner.
I think most people have a version like that, just with a different interface design.
But it's not always easy to balance the two.
Sometimes the stuff inside is much heavier than the stuff on display.
Exactly.
And when that happens, what do you usually do?
I talk about random stuff.
Like right now?
Yeah, but sometimes in that pile of random stuff, a few real things get mixed in.
Are you telling the truth right now?
Just a little bit. Don't make a big deal out of it.
I'll consider it a minor milestone.
What about you? Do you hide many things?
I do, but I'm not very good at hiding them.
Meaning?
When I'm overthinking, I go quiet, and it's pretty obvious if anyone is paying attention.
I think I can pick up on that.
Really?
Yeah, like earlier, you paused a few times not because you ran out of things to say, but because you were thinking about something.
I was thinking about what you said,
You sound more serious than usual.
because it isn't entirely a joke.
Yeah,
Do you ever feel like you're trying to act okay, even when you're not exactly okay?
I do. A lot of times.
And does anyone notice?
Probably not. Or maybe they notice, but choose not to ask. I'm not sure which one feels better.
I think there are people who notice.
For example?
For example, me. It's not always obvious, but I see it.
You're making me not know whether I should joke or just be quiet.
You can do both at once, no one's stopping you.
That's hard.
Then just pick whichever one feels easier.
Then I'll try telling the truth for a bit.
I'm listening.
There are times when I feel a bit out of sync compared to everyone else. They seem to know where they're going while I'm standing in the middle of an intersection with no signposts.
I don't think they actually know.
Are you sure about that?
I think most people are just guessing. They're just guessing with a more confident look on their faces.
That sounds more comforting than I thought.
Because it's true.
But that feeling still stays there. It doesn't just disappear because you know others are guessing too.
Yeah. It doesn't disappear right away. It just fades a little.
That's why I laugh a lot.
To hide it?